Hi, Metabolic Living. It is Coach Margot and Coach Ann. We are back to talk to you. And today we're talking about smoothies. So protein shakes and protein smoothies, we know that we love them and we know that many of you do too. So let's talk smoothies. And the first thing we're going to start off with is some of the reasons why we love smoothies, right? So why do we love these nutrition-packed, yummy, delicious shakes? And why don't you go ahead and start us off?
So I absolutely am a smoothie fanatic, Margot, and so many of my clients are smoothie drinkers. I think a couple things. It is a fantastic way to get protein into your nutrition protocol without having to grill a steak or bake some chicken or fry an egg, right? Literally, you can scoop that protein in your drink and get it in your diet, and it takes seconds. So I feel like that is like the number one bonus for me. And then secondly, just they're so portable and such a great option for people who are on the go. And I feel like with all of the cooling technology we have with the thermoses that keep things really cold, it's so portable. You can make this smoothie and put it in a really good tumbler and it stays cold for hours, and it just is so portable. So those are my top two: protein vehicle and just that they're portable and good for on the go.
Love that. Yes. And kind of building off of that, not only are they portable and great for on the go, but they're easy to make.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is throw some ingredients in the blender, blend it up, and then throw it in your favorite container and go. So for me, prep time and all of, that goes into cooking is, diminished. That's a huge help for me. And then the other reason I love smoothies is because you could just pack a ton of nutrients into a smoothie, and it saves you so much time because you don't have to eat all of those different ingredients. You can actually drink them. So for me, it's so much about convenience and saving time. So let's kind of move on to our next point here, which is sort of like, we do see with clients a lot that there are some mistakes that are being made with smoothies because it's kind of easy to get derailed rather quickly. So let's talk the biggest mistakes and then like how to solve them. So I'll lead off. One of the things that I see is that they aren't well balanced. And what I mean by that is in terms of protein, carbs, and fat, the ratio, it might be off a little bit, right? So maybe there's just not enough protein, or there's way too many carbs, there might be way too much fat. It's really easy to throw a ton of ingredients into a smoothie without realizing it. And all of a sudden you've got 2 cups of fruit, which can really be like a sugar overload, even though it's a natural sugar. So my thing is just making sure that you're aware of the ingredients that you're putting in, and that maybe you have some type of formula that you're following in order to concoct the best, most balanced smoothie for you. So tell me, what are some mistakes, or what's one of the biggest mistakes you see, and how do you solve that?
Yeah, I agree with you because a smoothie can definitely get out of control quickly. And I think that just even in society, we hear the word smoothie and we think healthy, right? And that's not necessarily true. So we have to be very intentional about the ingredients that we're putting in. If you go to a storefront that sells smoothies, you can very quickly be at an 800 calorie smoothie and not even realize it or realize what's in it. So the cool thing about making them yourself is you have that control. So I think the mistake is just not keeping control of the ingredients and not having a system. So I love that you said having a system. And I think it takes experimenting, right? Like a lot of times, I'll find myself putting in more fruit than I need. And what I really need to do is just back off on that fruit and put a cup of ice in, because actually my goal is just to make it really like a milkshake. So I keep loading up on the frozen fruit when really 5 or 6 strawberries is perfect. And I just need to put a half a cup of ice with it. So I think just experimenting and finding your system that works and controlling your ingredients is a way to avoid those mistakes. I kind of have a method, and I know you do too. I encourage clients to think about a cup or two of liquid, whatever their protein resource is. For some, it might be the metabolic super protein, which is delicious and yummy. For some, it might not be a protein powder. It might be a container of Greek yogurt. There are a lot of great Greek yogurts out there that are low in sugar and have up to 20 grams of protein. So again, the 1 or 2 cups of liquid, the protein source, whatever that is for you, some type of a healthy fat. So maybe a tablespoon or 2 of nut butter or avocado or MCT oil, some type of fat, a little bit of fruit, if fruit is your thing and you want that fruity flavor, and then a handful of greens. And that'll be different for everyone, right? Like if you're not used to putting greens in your smoothie, you might think, ugh, don't want to do that. You might start with a few leaves, right? But it's finding what you end up liking and what works for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And my formula is pretty much the same. But yeah, and kind of what I hear is too, with like when you were mentioning adding ice, it's sort of like adding volume, but in a way that's not necessarily going to add calories, but it's a way to add volume. So it's going to make you feel full and satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that. And that's a really, really good tip.
I think too, Margot, is just remembering the what we call at Metabolic Living, the naked shake, right? There's a great opportunity to just use it as a protein source on the go, and it doesn't have to go in the blender, and we don't have to put all these ingredients. Like if we're finding we're low in protein or low in energy, and it's the middle of the day, to just take that metabolic super protein, add it to water, shake it up, and just have that simple naked shake. I think sometimes we forget about that being an option. And I think that's a mistake because it's a really great tool to get a little more protein in.
Absolutely. It's a great snack. It's really easy and it's delicious. The metabolic super protein is awesome. So yeah, I love that. Really great tips. Okay, so let's talk about Schmeck and the impact of protein shakes on Schmeck. So give me your take or your thoughts on that.
I think they have a huge opportunity to help us bring our schmeck into balance based on the ingredients. And again, everybody's going to have to experiment with that. But think about this. If you are putting a healthy fat in your shake, it's going to be quite satiating, right? So it's definitely could help curb cravings, which for a lot of us is an issue, right? I know I get mid-afternoon cravings often. So the ingredients can impact that. Also, it can help you just regulate your blood sugar. A lot of times people will skip a meal, right? And if you skip the meal, then you're creating these lulls in your blood sugar. And that can create cravings and moodiness and kind of throw your schmack out of check. So just having the shake as an option that you can plug in when you're going to be missing a meal, I think definitely impacts schmack. It kind of is like a schmack protector in some kind of way. Make sense?
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. It is kind of a Schmeck protector. What comes to mind for me in terms of Schmeck, one is hunger. And I think that kind of goes back to making sure there's enough protein in order to control hunger. And like we said before, shakes are such an easy way to make sure you're getting enough protein in, because it's scoop by scoop, right? Or half a scoop or whatever it is, but just making sure that you have enough, because we're all different, we're all individual, and we're all different, so that it satisfies you. And then the other thing you were kind of speaking to as well is energy balance. And that's just making sure we have the right macronutrient ratio, or the right amount of protein, the right amount and type of carbs, and then the right amount of fat, so that we have this really nice, like, constant energy stream without the highs and lows. And I find that it's really easy to achieve with shakes. Again, because you really can control what's going into them. So yeah, and I think kind of, going on to our next point, which is what we've sort of been talking about, is we keep talking about what you're putting into them. So what are some of your favorite smoothie ingredients or protein shake ingredients?
So I love having greens in my smoothie. I feel like that having the fiber of greens just really fills me up and makes me feel very, very satisfied, and can sustain me to the next meal. So I am a big fan of kale, and I know that word kale kind of scares people. At the same time, I feel like it is a green that you can put in that kind of takes on the taste of whatever else you have going on in the smoothie. Like when you mix that with the metabolic super protein vanilla, you're tasting the vanilla, not the kale. And so that's one of my go-to ingredients to just pack that smoothie full of fiber. I lean towards the greens a little bit more than the fruit, just use enough fruit to give it a little bit of flavor. On the kale, my number one tip is to buy fresh kale from the grocery store versus bagged kale. A lot of times in the bagged kale, the stems are in it, and clients will throw in that whole big pile, stems and all, and it's just very fibrous. The stems are so fibrous, and that they're kind of even can stay chunky in the shake. So if you buy fresh kale and just pull the leaves off, they literally disintegrate in the smoothie. So
Yeah,
that's my big favorite ingredient is kale.
I love that tip. And I love the tip about how to prepare it for your smoothie and make sure you don't get those stems in there, because yeah, they're chunky. Some of my favorites, one thing that came to mind actually as we were having this discussion, is extracts and spices, because they're so easy to add and they pack a ton of flavor. And in a lot of cases, especially with spices, can provide some really awesome nutrients at the same time. So things like cinnamon, even vanilla extract, things like that, that can really pack like a really flavorful punch. And you can use them sparingly. You don't need a ton of that, but a lot of us have these things, in our cabinets at home that are really easy to just throw a dash or a splash of into to change the flavor.
That's
So
a great idea. I love that. You're making me think of, with fall coming up, I just have to sneak in here and interrupt you and share my favorite. So last fall, I got on this kick of using the vanilla protein powder and mixing pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling, pumpkin puree, and then like a teaspoon of pumpkin pie seasoning spice that you would use to spice the pie. Oh my gosh.
So yeah. Well, that's funny, because last year I got on a kick of making like an apple pie protein shake with the vanilla metabolic super protein apple. So like half to a full apple, just depending on how big it is. About a tablespoon of chopped pecans, a little dash of vanilla, and then a couple sprinkles of cinnamon.
Amazing.
So yummy. So, okay. And then one more thing I do love to put in my protein shakes, kind of along your idea with kale. Mine is either spinach or zucchini. And the reason being that they're both really mild and you're not really going to taste them. The zucchini isn't really even going to change the coloring of your shake. Yes, with the spinach or the kale, you're probably gonna have a green shake. But with the spinach, I find that it's super mild, and they're just two easy vegetables that you can really boost, again, the nutrient value by throwing in like a handful or a cupful. So take advantage of your shakes.
Love it. Absolutely love it. There's no way that we could eat a cup of zucchini and 5 strawberries and a cup of almond milk and 20 grams of protein and some other source and a cup or two of kale. Like we'd be so full, right? So
Absolutely.
it's amazing how much nutrients you can get into that glass.
Absolutely. And it would be hard if you're on the road on your way to work to actually eat all of that, right? But you can drink it. And so it's just such a convenient source. So let's wrap this up with like any tips that you have, just for in terms of making these shakes or like mine, for example, is like experiment and have fun and find the ingredients that you really love. Don't get trapped into this, like I should, sort of mentality. I should have this in there. I should add some of this. Yes, it's important to balance them out, but at the same time, have fun with it, experiment and find the flavor combinations that you really like. I mean, Anne and I just spoke to a pumpkin pie and an apple pie protein shake. So have fun and find what it is that you like.
Absolutely. I'm just going to second you on that, Margot. I think experimenting to find what you like and experimenting maybe in each of the areas with the liquid you use, with the healthy fat you use, with your protein, right? With your greens and your fruit, just know that you've got those components if you're using all those components and experiment with the ones that you like in each of those ingredients.
I totally agree. Love it. All right. We hope you guys have so much fun making your shakes. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, please enter them in the comments below. We will circle back around and answer any of your questions. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.